What's good, YouTube? This is Meliodas, and welcome to my new YouTube channel. Before we get started, I'd like to say a couple things. This channel is brand spanking new, so if you like to watch anime, read manga, and you're a gamer, be sure to subscribe to my channel as I'll be pumping out that sweet content for all you guys. Now on to the 7 Deadly Sins, or Nanatsu no Taizai, chapter 195. The battle for the defense of Meliodas concludes. Warning, this video will have spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you turn off the video, go read the chapter, come back and share your thoughts on the chapter with me in the comment section below. As we left off, Meliodas is back in action, back in black, back in the flesh as he stares down Fraudrin in the midst of battle to defend Meliodas. The words that Meliodas says in this chapter are just savage. His opening line is, "It's time we bring our dance to an end, Fraudrin, and this time I'll be sure to wipe every last trace of you from this world." After these words, Fraudrin is in disbelief as he notices that Meliodas' power has returned to its former glory of back when he was in league with the Demon Clan. After this realization, Fraudrin takes a giant but desperate swing at Meliodas, which fails so hard because he is so powerful that he can just evade with his godlike speed. Meliodas then counters with his own attack, and all we see is Meliodas moving so fast that after his attack, Fraudrin is left standing with a dozen holes in his body, looking like Swiss cheese. We see Meliodas standing after his attack with a giant smirk on his face, like this battle is child's play for him. Then we also see everyone's reaction to this brief scrap between Fraudrin and Meliodas, and everyone in the Perfect Cube, including Merlin, is shocked in awe at how easily Meliodas is damaging Fraudrin. But Ban, the fox assistant, stood there, his face with confidence and a smile, because he fully well knows how strong the captain can be in all of his capabilities if he takes the fight seriously. Fraudrin begins to turn around and says, You're a monster." As blood is spurting from all of the holes that Meliodas just cut into his body, Fraudrin then falls down to the ground while gasping for air. Now we see all of the spectators in Merlin's Perfect Cube, and in a sense, the spectators are having the same reactions as the readers would have upon seeing Meliodas' devilish actions and overwhelming power. I assume you guys are shocked by this display of power and Meliodas' new sinister demeanor. It seems to me that Meliodas is done playing games and he just wants to finish off the 10 Commandments in any way possible. Whether it's for revenge or to protect the kingdom and his allies, I think only time will tell. Then Hauser says how Meliodas simply overpowered Fraudrin with brute strength. Merlin then confirms that Fraudrin's power level pales in comparison to Meliodas', which is at a whopping 60,000, and to top it all off, when you add his demonic transformation, well, it's just game over for Fraudrin. Now we see Fraudrin, and he's on his knees, and he says that 3,000 years ago, and when history repeated itself 16 years ago while Meliodas was dancing off in his sweet little dreams, that he and the Demon Clan sat biding their time to take revenge against the goddesses and Meliodas. And just to clarify, when he says sweet little dreams, he means when Meliodas fell in love with Liz back in the kingdom of Danafor. Meliodas then reacts by showing empathy to Fraudrin and patting him on the shoulder by saying that it's okay, and he's been in his shoes before, but right then and there, oh my god, Meliodas bitch slaps Fraudrin so hard that he flies a couple meters into the ground. Ban watches this and says how this isn't the Meliodas that he remembers and that the captain is acting a bit peculiar. We then begin to watch a flashback scene as Fraudrin is speaking to Gother in what seems to be the underworld, in which, if you didn't already know, Gother used to be one of the 10 Commandments. Fraudrin finds out how Meliodas betrayed the demon clan and murdered the demons that were in his party. Gother then explains to Fraudrin that Meliodas has fallen in love, and that he's giving his undivided attention in a fight for someone he loves. Which, by the way, he's talking about Liz. Again, his first love, when Meliodas was a holy knight for the kingdom as Danafor 16 years ago. Gother then asks Fraudrin if he can even wrap his head around that, the concept of love. And Fraudrin is overwhelmed by this and doesn't know how to take this. Now back in our present fight, Fraudrin begins to recompose himself, builds himself up, and calls himself one of the 10 Commandments, the Demon King's elite squad, Fraudrin the Seflfess. Meliodas then begins to talk trash as he denies him that title and tells him that it was never given to him by the Demon King, and even goes so far as to call him a cheap, third-rate substitute. Now, I never knew that Meliodas could talk trash like this, but this is just gold. Now, at this point, Meliodas is just talking trash, trying to get Fraudrin riled up, and Fraudrin is fed up. He angrily curses at Meliodas and says, "Fuck off, you goddamn traitor. I have the pride of the Demon King flowing through my veins. The pride in which you cast aside, Meliodas." Now we pan on over to everyone in Merlin's perfect cube, and Merlin notices that Fraudrin is drawing out all of his life force, getting ready to self-destruct. Hendrickson and Hauser are in disbelief, but Merlin reassures everyone that her perfect cube is impenetrable. Fraudrin then begins to rant and questions why Meliodas is still smiling, because after he blows up, he'll wipe everyone off the face of Leonis. Now listen here, because this panel is pretty damn crazy. We see Fraudrin towering over Meliodas while the core of his body starts glowing, and darkness begins to spread throughout his torso, centering from the core in his body, and he's beginning to transform himself into a massive time bomb. He begins to count down, and the savagery continues as Meliodas keeps egging Fraudrin on. At this point, it seems like Meliodas doesn't care and wants Fraudrin dead by any means necessary and as quickly as possible. So then we see Bon in the perfect cube interact with Merlin, and even Bon, second in command to Meliodas, his best friend and comrade, doesn't even know what Meliodas is thinking, because Meliodas keeps trying to rile up Fraudrin to try and bait him into self-destructing. And even the all-knowing Merlin is puzzled by what is going on with Meliodas. Back over at the battle, Fraudrin tells Dreyfus and his son to prepare for their deaths, as he'll be bringing them over to the underworld. Let me just tell you guys right now, this is where the feels come out, so get ready. Dreyfus begins to console baby Griamore and tells him that he'll be with him till the very end, but as crazy as this sounds, baby Griamore runs to Fraudrin, hugs his leg, uses his perfect shell, and traps Fraudrin inside of it. He then begins to beg Fraudrin not to kill everyone, as everyone is looking shocked at the scene that's going on right before them, telling him to stop right away. Dreyfus is banging at perfect shell, and Fraudrin takes the shake off baby Griamore, as baby Griamore begins to cry and pleads with him not to self-destruct and kill everyone. The craziest thing happens. Fraudrin agrees and promises not to kill anyone. I mean, at first I thought he was going to pull a bait and switch and end up self-destructing anyway, but Fraudrin was telling the truth, people. One of the 10 Commandments sympathize with a human. I mean, can you believe this? Can you believe the irony? Fraudrin then tells baby Griamore to take down the barrier and return to his father's side while promising not to self-destruct. Baby Griamore takes down his perfect shell, reunites with Dreyfus, and Fraudrin realizes that he himself has fallen in love. Fraudrin, while being in Dreyfus's body, became attached to Griamore as his father, and fell in love with baby Griamore in a fatherly fashion. Now we see Fraudrin as he realizes that he now understands the concept of love, just as how Gother was asking him back in the flashback if he could even wrap his head around it, and that he was the last thing that Fraudrin wanted. Fraudrin then tells Meliodas to kill him, and Meliodas, with a blank stare on his face as it seems like none of this has affected him, gives Fraudrin one hell of an uppercut so powerful that it obliterates half of Fraudrin's body. The only thing left standing is the lower half of Fraudrin's body. As the chapter ends, everyone reacts in disbelief at this bittersweet moment that just ensued. I mean, here we see Fraudrin, one of the 10 commandments, selflessly give his life for everyone while respecting baby Grimoire's wishes, a human. And then Meliodas just murders him in one shot with an evil grin on his face in cold blood. Everyone is now staring in disbelief as they cannot believe the sight they are seeing, and Ban looks as if he is disappointed at the captain's actions and this bittersweet moment. So with this, the battle to defend Leonis has reached its conclusion, and I can't help but think that everyone has one question on their mind, and that's what's up with Meliodas' strange behavior after his return from the underworld. With that being said, thank you to everyone who's watching this video, and if you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button below. If you have anything you want to discuss about the chapter, did you like the chapter, did you hate it, any theories or speculations, be sure to drop that down in the comment section below. Lastly, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and I'll be coming out with great content like this and much more. So have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon.